Hi everyone, how you doing? It's Roy here at Teesside Therapy Clinic. Just sat waiting for somebody. So I thought I'd do a quick video on the concept of stress buckets and gratitude and empathy buckets. So it's something that I've been doing in the groups that I facilitate recently. So let's talk about the stress bucket first and foremost. If you've never heard of this before, it's a concept around how we gather stress. So if you imagine that you have a bucket and stress is water coming into the bucket consistently from the natural stuff that goes on around us, from life, from work, family, kids, all the stuff that raises our stress levels, anything that causes us anxiety and stress. So our bucket becomes full every single day, trickling in, trickling in. Now, the philosophy behind this is trying to find different strategies to reduce the amount of water that goes into the bucket and also to help release some of the water out of the bucket, some of the stress. Remember, water equals stress in this analogy. Because the last thing we want is for that stress to build up and build up and build up and then to start flowing outwards and for us to start splashing and causing a bit of a splash zone with people around us. Okay, which can happen when we become overly stressed. Our bucket becomes full, we start splashing out, we start spilling out everywhere. So having a look at and exploring maybe some of the different ways that we can stop stress from coming in. It's not always possible, but it is feasible sometimes to be able to reduce some of that. And it's certainly like taking holidays, taking days off, taking well-being days, I don't know, away from the kids and stuff like that, getting the grandparents, or if you're co-parent, to get the other parent to look after them a little bit while you take some of those days. I guess those could also be ways of releasing some of the pressure once it's starting to build up. And it's becoming aware of this bucket as well, to be aware of when we're becoming overly stressed, when it's becoming a bit too full. And actually being able to use that language, my bucket's becoming a little bit too full for me at this moment in time. The other thing is to release that pressure as well. Now, it's different for all of us. We all have different techniques, different things that we've learned, things that we haven't learned as well. So experimenting in new things is a really good way to learn what might help relieve some stress. And some things will relieve some stress a lot and get a lot out. Some of it will, something might only release it a tiny little bit. And I liken it to kind of like a drill around the bottom of your bucket. So it's got loads of different ways for that water to come out. So when actually life becomes really stressful and some really heavy stuff starts happening around us and we're flooded with stressful situations, which happens, then we've got all these different strategies that can just let that water out and help us to recover. The other thing as well is the other bucket that we've got, and that's our gratitude and empathy bucket, or whatever you want to call it. And that's the gratitude and empathy. So think about another bucket that's that we can fill up, and we want to do the opposite of the stress bucket with this one. We want to be filling it as much as possible. We want to stop the blockages. We want to stop ourselves from blocking it and from start receiving gratitude and receive empathy from other people. One of the ways, really important ways to receive empathy from other people is, firstly, we need to identify the right people who can be empathic, but we also need to learn and experience opening up and allowing ourselves to get that empathy so we can learn and experience it, and that'll fill the empathy bucket. And we also don't want to be leaking any out. We want to be filling that gratitude and empathy bucket. We want to be thinking about these things, thinking about being empathic, thinking about being gratuitous. Is the right word? Gratuitous. Thinking about being gratuitous, showing gratitude for everything that we do have in our life, rather than focusing on the negative stuff that is happening. Start looking at the positive things that we actually do have. And filling that bucket and allow it to fill and let that overflow, let that spill out, let us show other people empathy, let us give empathy out to the outside world. But actually we need to be careful that we're not, and that's how we don't seep it out at the bottom on this one. We don't just give it away, and if we haven't got it to give, because we need to have it enough to be able to give it. And somebody said to me, it was just, I don't know, about 6 months ago, it really got me going, this one. Somebody said to me, 2 halves don't make a whole. And I was kind of like, what do you mean? They went, actually, 0.5 times 0.5 equals 0.25. If you're half and you're not full, and you're not whole in your empathy and your gratitude, your compassion, your love, all of that wholesome stuff, if you're not full in that, and you try to give that to somebody else, you're running into empty at that point. You're actually taking away from your half, or whatever it is, percentage that you've got. So actually making sure that when we are given, we've got enough to give, because you can't feed somebody out of an empty bowl. It's as simple as that. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. It's a very quick one. Like the page, Teesside Therapy Clinic. Hit me up on Messenger if you want to explore any of your own stuff, or if you want to talk about some of the stuff that you've got on. Or I'm actually doing a bit of an offer at the moment, because I'm wanting to do a case study with regards to my hypnotherapy, and that is £20 a session, which is really decent, less than half price. And that is online as well. That's an offer for online. Have a look at my website, teessidetherapy.co.uk. We're coming up to 6 minutes now. I think that's probably end line for me. So take care, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. Enjoy the glorious weather. Bye.